Now, we started with module 4, lesson 1, which was talking about relations and functions. We talk about the relations, we talk about the domain and range. We say the domain is of the values of x, the range is the values of y. We say that every number in a domain has a relation with its value on the range. And we say we name this part with a relation. Now, and then we talk about the function, and we say that a function is a special case from a relation. If you have only one value of x, or each element in x has only each one in y. And if this case happens, we call it a function. And we say that we have on one to many and many to one. I have one to many, this is not a function. But many to one, because each blue has one yellow. Each blue has yellow. So this would be a function. That's what we talked about them before. Now, so if I have a numbers, I can put them, I can draw a mapping diagram to know that if this is a function or no. So if I have a values, if I have a table, I can know. But what can I do if we have graphing? How can I know if this graph is a function or no? If this graph is a function or no? If this one is a function or no? How can I know from the graph if the first one is a function or no? The mathematicians use something we call it the vertical line test. What do I mean by the vertical line test? It's a vertical line. So it's a vertical line. Okay, what did they use? A vertical line, not horizontal. This is horizontal and this is vertical. They use a vertical line. They put the vertical line on the graph. Okay, they say that if the vertical line, oh look at this one, the vertical line test, a relation is a function. If and only if there's no vertical passes through two or more points. What do I mean? They draw the vertical line. They put it on the graph. If the vertical line test cuts the graph at only one point, I will say this is a function. If it is at more than 1 point, this will be a relation. This will be not a function. Look at this. Yes, I got at the second one. Bravo. Look at the second one now. Look at the vertical line. Do you see the shadow? Yeah. Now look at it. If I put it here or here or here, at how many points it intersects the graph? At how many points? Only 1 point. Look at the blue curve. Okay, where's my graph? The blue curve. Here's my blue. The blue curve is my graph. I will put the line test like this here. Now, but the curve, the line cannot understand. So I will draw now a line test. Where is the line test? Oh, at how many points it cut the blue? At 1. If it is cut at 1, so I will say yes, it is a function. This is the vertical line test. If it is, yes, that's it. If it is, I will draw vertical at any point, but it must intersect the graph. Look at this one.
Can you repeat? I didn't understand.
Okay, look at this one here. This line. At how many points does it intersect the graph? 2. I told you, if it is only 1, it's function. If it is more than 1, it's not function.
How will you choose 1 or more than 1?
I will say, let's look at me here, Jury. I will repeat. From its name, vertical line, so I have to use a vertical line to test if this graph is a function or no. I will draw a line. at any point, but it must intersect my graph. Maybe I draw it here, maybe I draw it here, at any point. Now, look at the second case here, Juri, here in B. Okay, look at the red line.
Okay.
Where does it intersect the graph? At 1 point or 2 points or more than 2?
1 point.
1 point, bravo. So because it intersects the graph at 1 point, so this is yes, a function. But the
That's
second
it?
case here, at how many points it intersects the graph?
4.
The first line, it's only
Two.
one line. 2 points. If it is 2 points, so this will not be a graph.
Okay.
Even you draw it here, here, or here, you must have the same answer.
Okay.
Where? No, you have to do it in the middle. Now, is there at least one vertical line that crosses a first graph more than once? The first graph, they asked me here. Is there at least one vertical line? Or one that crosses the graph more than once? Yani, what do I mean? Like, the vertical line, when it intersects the graph, does it intersect it more than once or only one? Any more than one, only one? More than one. So it's intersected more.
I was thinking horizontal. Sorry.
Than one. What's the second one? Type. The second one here. Yes, just a minute. Yes. Yes, sir. Now let's see this one here, number 16. Is it a function or no? Number 16.
101.
Yes.
Teacher, this one because if
In your book, try it in your book. Yeah. Draw a vertical line test. Juri, where's your book? Where's your copy book? Where are you,
Hey,
miss?
teacher, I'm writing it.
not you.
Okay.
You bring all the books, not the math, except math. Okay. Ah, yes, okay. No, it's named vertical line test. From its name, vertical line test.
Like this
Relation, it's a relation, but it's not a function. So, number 16, is it a function?
Yes.
Let's see. It passes only 1 point. So, yes, it's a function. The second one, here.
Teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
What if I drew 2 lines and the first line has 1 point and the second line has 2 points? Is this a function or not?
This case cannot happen. The second one, you must only draw one vertical line.
Okay.
Teacher, no, the second one is not a function. When you draw it,
Yani there's no shape like this.
No, not like this, yani.
This cannot happen.
Teacher, like the one that you did, yani.
But this one, there's no graph in math like this. You draw it here, it cuts in 1. If you draw it here, it cuts in 2. No, so this cannot happen. And if it's happened, it's not a function.
Yani we should draw only 1 line.
And only 1 line, yes. The second one,
yes,
it passes through only 1 point or more than 1? More than 1. One here and 1 here. So it's not a function. didn't know. I know that. If it is, you know how to do the vertical line? Okay. Let's cut the graph. How many points when it cut it? Oh, it passed the graph at how many points? 1. So it's a function. This one, it passed the graph at how many points? 1 here and 1 here. 2. It's not a function. Okay, طب let's solve this one, Amwaj. The third one here, number 18. Type, okay. One point, bravo. So it's cut it in 1 point. So is it a function? Yes.
Teacher, can I try to solve this one?
Yes, Yajuri. Number 19.
2 points. It's not a function.
Bravo. It's cut it in 2 points. So it's not. No.
But teacher, wait, in number 18, I think it's not a function because there's another point.
Where's the other point?
In -4 here. Like on the line, on the exact same line.
If I draw it on the exact on the y-axis.
Yes, teacher, it's on the y-axis.
Okay, if it is here, it's cut in only 1.2.
Yeah, okay, so it's considered to be not a function.
How?
Because teacher, there's 2 points.
Where's the second one? Oh, you have all draw one line.
Oh, okay.
Before we go to the second part, what do I mean by function or not a function? From the graph. Look at the first one here.
Function.
Look at the second one. What do I mean by it's a function? I mean, like if I take at point, I want to find the value of 4. You will see here, you will say that it's 1 as an example. So number 4, 4 in the x, it has only one value on y. But the second one here, if you take number 4, if you come up, it is 2. And if you come down, it's -2. And I told you that before, if the function, if it is 1 too many, it's not a function. I mean, like 4, it could have 2, and it could have -2. So it's not a function. Do you remember what I mean by function as not a function? Function, each one value of x has only one value of y. So if I take as an example 0.4, okay, where is the value of 4? How do I know where's the value of 4? You go up, you will see. I draw a line. Where is it intersect the graph? At which point? At 0.1 as an example. You will say that 0.4 has only one pair, which is 1. Okay? But the second one here, this no, you didn't. And did you wait? Be with us on Wednesday? No, so you didn't. How do you understand? You will have to watch the recording. Here now, look at 0.4. It has, if you go up, it intersects the blue line at 0.2. If you go down, it intersects at -2. So for 0.4, how many pairs it have? 2 points. So this is not a function. I want to connect with you how with the previous lesson. You know, if 1 too many, it is not a function. Which we draw the vertical line and you said it's not a function. So what do I mean by it's not a function? From the graph, that means each 1 point, it has 2 values. So it is not a function. Let's go to the second one here. Here, look at 0.4 as an example. Where is the value of 4? 7 as an example. So the value of 4 is 7. So 4, it's only 7. It has one friend, which is 7. So this is a function. But look at this one here, 0.2 as an example. We have 2, negative 4, and we have 2, 4. So 0.2, it has 2 values. So that means it's not a function. Okay, this is what do I mean by not a function. How do I know just from the vertical line test? Cut it in only 1 point, this is a function. More than 1 point, this will not be a function. No. Now, there is something we call it function mutation, and which is the most important one. Like if you have f of x equals 3x minus 1. This is what do I mean by function mutation. F of x equals, so I read it as f, Habiba, f of x, function of x is 3x minus 1. And this is as an example. It could be x squared minus 1 as I want. Now, they told me that, as you remembered before, you asked me dependent and independent. When you put x, it's independent because you put it from your mind. So the values of the point of the values of x are independent because you put it from your mind as you want. But the values of y, when you find the values of y, is it you bring it from your mind or it depends on the value of x?
It depends on the value.
Bravo. So that means it's dependent.
Oh, yeah, that's listen.
So when you put the values of y, of x, you put it from your mind. Yeah. It's independent. It doesn't depend on anything. But when you find the values of y, you found it before because you substitute on x. Is it clear? Remember that when you use the graph, you draw the table, when you find x and y, you say if x is 0, 1, or 2, then you say as an example, 0 plus 1, 1, 1 plus 1, 2, 2 plus 1 is 3, and so on. So that means the values of y, when I found them, they depends on the values of x. So that's why y is dependent and x is independent. Yes. If it is like y equals x, you mean? Only give me example like what? Okay, this is a function, but we said it is linear function from two variables. Yes, they must be from two variables. I say x and y. If it is from one variable, you didn't say if it's dependent variable, independent variable, because they are only one variable. But if we have two variables, x and y, we will say x is independent and y is dependent. Agree now? What do I mean by independent and dependent? Right. Now, the second thing. We can name a function by using a letter, f or g. Sometimes I say f of x or g of x. So to name a function, I will say use letter f or letter g. And h. I forget h. Sometimes I can say f of x. Sometimes I can say g of x. Sometimes I can say h of x. These are the names of the function. F of x, f, g, h, sometimes I, f, g, h. Remember that, f, g, h. These are the names of the function. Now, and the function notation, which is the f of x, which is the values of x, or the most one that f of x.
So teacher, the f, the f is the
function of x.
Yeah, function of x. And the x that's in the bracket is the one we put from our mind, right?
Yes. And the values that you found, that is y. And let's just one by one. So f of x, it means the f notation of the function notation between bracket is x, you read it as f of x. So how you read it? The second one, g of x. Bravo. Now, when you substitute, like if you have x is 1, okay? X is 1. It doesn't depend on anything. I told you it's independent value. And I told you now find f of x. Where is it 3 minus x, as an example. What you will do? You will say f of 1. Now you will substitute x with 1. Why 1? Because I told you x is 1. F of 1 equals 3 constant. Keep it as it is. Minus. Where is x? You will put 1. Where do you find x? You will substitute with 1. Then 3 minus 1. 2. Bravo. So it's 2. So that's me. F of 1 equals 2. Now think about f of 1. What does it mean? Okay, but see, how we substitute x? We get 2. What does 2 represent?
2 represents the function of
The value of? Bravo, the value of y. If you substitute the value of x, after you finish, you find the number. This number, it's a value of y. So yes.
Can you repeat this point because I didn't understand?
Okay, I will repeat it.
All.
So the f of 1, when you find it's 2, it has 2 names. You can say it is the f of 1 or the value of y. So you can say now it is 1. This is the name of the pair of the value. It's dependent. So you can name it as
so the coordinate is gonna be
xy, or you name it as x f of x.
the
X.
f of x is 1.
So we can name the pair by 2 ways, x and y, or x and f of x. And both of them, they are like 1, 2, which have the same value. Whereas 2, it could be y, and 2 is f of x. And I will repeat, that's it, but I will summarize it.
Wow, so easy.
It's okay.
It's not a problem with me in math. I know the lesson, I understand it. The next week I forget. That's why and then I need a reminder to remind me.
Did you revise when you come back?
Yeah, I want. Last week I revised for like this. But like.
But when you go back to exam, when you
Yeah.
you remember that.
Yeah,
It's
if you did
okay.
that equation,
That's happened with me. It's okay. And that's happened with us. No. No. For myself. So then with the book. It's a math, you know.
Yeah, studied
No, you have to apply them. Yes, okay. I will give you now another example. So, function, it has a rule, or we can say like a function. We know what I mean by a function. How can I say if it's a function or no? From the values or from the graph? Now, let's talk about the function notation. The function notation, which is like f of x. Do you know what's the meaning of notation?
No.
It's like abbreviation يعني.
Wait, teacher, that was
And I will repeat it. Okay? F of x, it's as an example, x plus 1. This is a rule, this one here. We call it function rule. This expression, x plus 1, is a function rule. You will use it to find f of x. Okay? Now, if I told you now, find f of 1, find f of 0, find f of 2. What does it mean? The value of x is 1. The value of x 0, and the value of x is what here? 2. Now, if you want to find f of 1, what you will do? Substitute x with 1. 1 plus 1, 2. The second case. F of 0. Where is x? 0. 0 plus 1 equals 1. F of 2, 2 equals what? Equals 3. So now, f of 1, you will go up here. Where's x? 1. So 1 plus 1 equals 2. F of 0, 0 plus 1 equals 1. F of 2, we substitute x with 2. So 2 plus 1 equals 3. Yes, that's it. So what is the value of f of 1? 2. So you can write it now as so what are the ordered pair here? The first one, 1 to 2. 1 is the value of x, and 2 is the value of f of 1, or I mean y. How do you write the pair? Each value of y, it has to be x and y. And if it is function, x and f of x. Right. What is the x? 1. Here is 1. So here, now. F of 1 is mean it's x. And the value that you find it, it's y. Okay? So how you write the ordered pair? Where's x? Where's x? Where's y? Oh, the value of x. Oh, function of x, it means 2. So you will say 1, 2.
Yeah, because the one is x and the two is.
That's it, yes. The second one. Yes, yes, sorry.
Why did you choose this one? Not this one.
لا ما I said for the first part the ordered pair is 1, 2. But for the second part, what is the ordered pair? Where is the value of x here? 0. And where is the f of 0? 1. So you will say f1. Okay, it's just example. The third one, where is the value of x? 2. يا ليال, bravo. Where is the f of 2? 3. So the ordered pair will be 2, 3. So let's remember, this is function rule. This is the function notation. And how you read the function notation? F of x. It could be f of x, g of x, and h of x.
So teacher, x never changes only to be 1?
No. They could be any number.
Okay, then teacher, you said like you mean for this equation only?
Yes, for this equation like this here. Let's see this example, you understand more. Look at this one here. Now, you can determine the value of the function by 2 ways. By substituting or by graphing. From the graph or by substitution. Let's learn how do I find the value of the function from substitution. Look here. A ball is dropped from a platform 30 feet above the ground. Okay, it's like physics. There's a platform, its height is 30 meters, above the platform, there's a ball. And the ball is dropped down. Okay? The ball's height is h. So here's the platform. Here is the ball. And it's dropped down from the height down. So here's the value of the they told me the height is h. Above the ground can be modeled by the function h of t. Which is negative 16t squared plus 30. That's a function. Its name is h of t, not f of x. Where is the dependent variable? Where is the independent variable? Sorry.
T.
T. Bravo. So where is the independent variable? It's t. Where is the dependent variable? Y or h of t. Or it's another name, we can say it's the height. Because they told you h, it means height. Okay, so the height of the ball depends on the time. If after 1 second, as an example, the height is 29. After 3 seconds, the height will be 25, as an example. When it reaches the ground, the height is 30, and so on. So that's mean. Where's the time? Now, the height depends on the time. Okay? Now, let's go back to math. So the function here is h of t, negative 16t squared plus 30. Then they ask me now, what is the value of h of 1? What does it mean in physics? It means that after 1 second, where's the ball will be? At which height?
1.
So what you have to be? You said negative 16. Where is t? What's the value of t? Sorry. 1. From here. 1 squared plus 30. Negative 16. 1 squared first. 1 times negative 16. Negative 16. Plus 30. 40. So that's me. At or after 1 second, the height now of the ball from the ground is 14 feet.
Teacher,
Oh.
the h of t or the t, anything would be like in here. For example, the t would be 1.
Okay.
That would be 1.
They ask me find h of 1. Okay?
Now, what happened to the rest of power of 2? The
1 squared, it's 1. Yes. You didn't understand this. So, you didn't understand the physics part or math part? The math. Right. H of t is a function. The function rule is given. Negative 16t squared plus 30. Okay, so they tell me that now this is my function rule. Now, they ask me to find h of t. Where is t is 1? What does it mean? You will see. Where is t? Here is t. So you want to substitute. Instead of t, write 1. Then, I don't know. Negative 16 times t squared. What's the value of t? 1. 1 squared. 1 squared means 1 times 1. 1 times 1. 1. 1 times negative 16. Negative 16 plus 30. Negative 16 plus 30 is what? Positive 14. What does it mean? This is the value here. That means h of 1 is 14. This is in math. Now, what does it mean in physics? It means that here's my ball. When it's thrown down, after 1 second, its height is 14 meters. That's it. Oh, 14 feet, sorry. So, do you have any question? So, let's go now to this one here. I want you now, for each function, find f of -1, f of 1, and f of 3. I will solve number 9, and I will let you solve number, I will solve one of them. Let's go now to number 9 first. Yeah, f of -1. Okay? 3x minus 4, f of x. طب f of -1, 3 times. Where is x? So you will say -4.
For each equation, for each function, we will use all.
If f of -1, you will substitute, you will find the answer. Then f of 1, then f of 3.
This is what.
Because the value of x is -1. Now, 3 times -1, -3, minus 4, -7. So it will be -1, -7.
Then first substitute and minus this.
We get the -7. Yalla, try f of 1 and f of 3 in your copy book. F of 1 and f of 3. I found f of -1. I want you to solve f of 1 and f of 3.
So teacher, for 9, we will use all of them.
For
number 9, we will use f -1 and f1 and f.
oh yeah. For each function, find f of -1, f of 1, and f of 3. يلا hurry up يا ماما لسه. Bravo, I found it. Excellent. What's the value of f of 1, 3, 5? No, Mama, look, don't look at 10. Yeah, Mama, yeah, Baba. I had 9 only, only 9.
Teacher, I got the answer of F1 for 9.
Yes, I do.
Teacher, hello, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah, Maria. Yes, Maria.
Teacher, I got the answer for...
What is your answer?
The answer I got 1 and 4 and 7.
Eh?
Like the X is 1 and 7 is the Y.
So now let's find f of 1. No, it's wrong. F of 1. Who wants to find it? Yes, Yanada. Yeah. F of 1. Tell him that. Yes, this one, yes, but this no. 3 times 3. Oh, that's true. 20, how do you find it? 27. How do you find it? This is 9. This is 9. 3 times 3, 9. So your answer is correct.
Can I do the FP3? Do the
Yes,
coordinates.
bravo.
Can I
So-
do FP3?
Yes, يلا يا سمر. يلا f of 3.
Teacher, still I didn't understand this lesson.
They ask me on the question. Okay. Bravo. Is it clear? Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. But I thought 3 to the power of 3. So number 9, do you have any question?
Make 10 homework. Then it's sorry.
طب 10 I will solve it tomorrow. طيب f of negative 1 in number 10 will be what? و f of 1 و f of 3 برافو عليك. They are 4, yes. Go. يلا. Tomorrow I will explain how, okay? What do you have after this page? Okay. Yes, you still writing? طب keep يلا.
Teacher, it will equal -1 and -4. Because there's nothing in the minus equation. If the f it's for -1. Teacher, it will always.
طب see, I will solve number 10 since the teacher didn't come. يلا, now we'll see. Oh, I cannot clear.
Teacher, it will be 4, 4, 4.
Look at me here. F of -1, f of 1, f of 3, if the function of x is 4. هلا, first of all, what do I mean f of x is 4?
If the function of x equals 4.
Okay, what does it mean? That's what? What does it mean? What does it mean? طب f of x, what does it mean? She said y. So it means y is 4. What do I mean by y is 4? That means y, even that x is 1 million, even that is x is not negative 1,000, it must be 4. F of x, it means 4. What does it mean? That means at any point y, it must be 4. So if you find f of -1, it's 4. If you find f of 1, it's 4. If you find f of 3, it's 4. Got it? F of 1, f of x, it means y. So y is 4. طب as another example. Hi, teacher is coming. Yeah. That's now I will stop.
This one, no need to think about it. Why you want to